evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's episode of Trigger. I'm your host, Zachary Clark, and you all know my co-host, Adam Thurman. Adam, how are you doing tonight?
I'm okay. I'm a bit tired, but I'm doing all right.
Oh, good. About as good as you can ask for.
Yeah.
Well, it's a special evening because we're coming to you live from the war-torn city of Kyiv. Using the appropriate Ukrainian spelling and pronunciation of Kyiv, and not the evil, oppressive Russian spelling and pronunciation of Kyiv.
I think it's anglicized.
No, I looked it up. That's why there's been a push to change it in all of the reporting and all the people that have been talking about it who are pro-Ukraine.
No,
Yes.
that can't be it. No,
I googled it.
I refuse to believe that. I refuse to believe that. It's anglicized, is what I'm going to choose to believe.
Is
Zach,
anglicized.
that may be your truth, but my truth is that.
There's many truths that I've chosen to believe these past few days, so I'm on board with everything and absolutely nothing at the same time. So you all should sit back, kick back, relax, and just let us take you right on a journey tonight. Right on a journey. Get on this river cruise, because we've got some destinations to reach. What is going on?
What?
Are you quit finagling your controls over there?
Oh, okay. Sorry, I had to. I had to send you something real quick. I didn't know I messed with it. I thought it was just
You sent me something. What did you... do not snooze him. Phone. What do we got? Oh, yeah. So judgy. Gosh. But the first journey on our river cruise this evening has always got to be
river cruise. There's no gambling on this boat.
Yeah, it's
gambling with your life.
What do they call them when you stop places on a cruise? Excursion. Our first excursion is right into the very depths of the scanner radio. 12th and Chestnut, 1050 accident with injuries, QPD, QFD, and EMS en route. Vehicle hit a building on the southeast corner. One driver ran from scene. Just a regular 1050. Well, they didn't run into a building, so I mean, whatever. But I'm sure it can't be that bad, right? Oh my God.
Oh my goodness. What corner is this?
On 12th and Chestnut. So it's that little wig store right across the street from the gas station over here, and there's a car wash across Chestnut Street. They were doing some speed when they lost control there, and you may notice these feet right here. I believe this is the with injuries. There's actually a potential corpse in this photograph on the scanner. R.I.P. prayers sent.
R.I.P.? Or
rest in power?
Oh, jeez.
What are you talking about?
I didn't hear what you said. It's been a long week, Zach.
It's over. The week is over, Adam. Nothing at all is happening. Everybody took a break for the weekend. Went off to some fine vacation in Eastern Europe. I hear Odessa's nice this time of year.
I heard Grozny is as well.
We'll get to that. But first we have another public service announcement. Not only should you be careful hey, you don't want to be responsible for taking a man's life. Don't drive like a maniac.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh. I think about this and then when the car hit the Abbey and how like the in in that photograph the car's just completely wrecked. The building is just still standing as it was 100 years ago. Whereas the Abbey caved and allowed the car to come inside.
just broke right through the wall. There was a
Yeah.
thing. I think the driver had fled in this,
Oh,
so there's a little bit of a hit and
what?
run situation going on. Driver ran from the scene. Yeah. But in addition to that, you got to be careful because you don't know if you happen to be cruising by Hannibal, Missouri, or Warren Barrett, Hannibal, Missouri. A person picked up a hitchhiker and they're causing a disturbance, possible assault. Hannibal Police Department and Marion County Sheriff's Department, MCSD, en route. Hitchhiker might be out of vehicle walking now, question mark. Well, that's why you don't pick up hitchhikers. You gotta watch out. It's a different world nowadays. You can't just pick up some schmuck with his thumb out because he could be a maniac.
Yeah, you need to have that maniac needs to have an app and they have to have a rating
Oh yeah,
before you
yeah, yeah.
pick them up.
Well, what you need to do is have your passenger armed with a pistol sits in the back seat and they ride in the passenger seat.
Or piano wire.
You then train the pistol on the guy or put the piano wire resting against his throat and until they get to wherever that guy's going. That way, if he starts getting, feisty, a fast garroting or
Correct.
38
Correct.
to the back of the head.
And if they are uncomfortable, they can just get out and walk.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, hey, you're no worse for wear, buddy, but these are the rules of riding in my car. Are you going to kill me? That's part of the fun of this game, friendo.
Oh no.
I guess we'll find out. That's partially in your hands. Oh, I just ran out of gas. Anyway,
I just broke out of prison for this.
the main problem is that people don't know how to pick up hitchhikers appropriately in the modern era. But you got to be careful, Adam, because people are on to maniac hitchhikers, and so they've become to adapt their ways to become more crafty. This was February 19th, and I have something here from February 20, 9:40 p.m. Highway 61, just north of Hannibal, Missouri. Oh, interesting. Male in camo was laying on the road as vehicle with female slowed. Male got up and approached her vehicle. Deputies en route. The old, I'm injured in the roadway. You should stop to help me trick.
That's definitely that's a trick.
And I think, prediction, it's the same guy. It was a day later,
He's just
right outside of Hannibal. He's like, no one's
he's gonna get
up.
murdered. He's gonna be justifiably killed.
Well, Adam, you just gotta scroll down a little bit, and you find things like, it's a trap! And I just have to keep on going, beep beep.
Oh no. Yeah, this is how you get justifiably killed.
No, bro, he's just expressing his own truth in the world, and to
Why
even
would you-
say that he wants.
And
that
why
should
would you?
go
Why would you do that
callous, unfeeling.
with the good old boys and gals in Missouri either? Like you really do have a death wish, don't you?
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, but of course, they obviously, maybe the people in Hannibal don't know. Maybe they're friendly toward hitchhikers because, like I said, 38 and or piano wire situation needs to be set up for your pickup strays. But scanner wasn't the only thing in local news. Hey, any of you out there like crypto? Because now you can donate to your favorite Franciscan university in Shibu Inu or Dogecoin.
Oh, it's so good.
Quincy
It
University.
makes me want to just get Dogecoin to donate to them.
Yeah. No,
You could donate like 1,000 Dogecoins for like, $6 or whatever.
it's not. I think Dogecoin is pricey because every time Elon tweets about it, it skyrockets or whatever.
Yeah, it's increased in a lot of value over the past year, but it used to be like
I think it's one of those
tenths of a
floating
cent.
ones
Yeah, I don't know.
because
I knew that it's the Shibu one. SHIB is the ticker or whatever. That one is like 0.0000000000002.
it's like buying penny stocks. Why not invest
Yeah,
in 1,000 Shibu Inu for $10?
that's what you
Yeah,
could do.
I got 10
$10, and it's
bucks.
like it's like you invest in it and then make the donation to QU just because.
Yeah.
And then you can say,
Uh,
I donated 1,000 to QU. It's like, whoa, that's what you do. You
there's a
donate, you get, use like, oh man, I just donated 1 million to QU, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, it's so great. And
1 million
you're
Shiba
like, geez.
Inu.
And then it's like, oh, is that like $200? It's like, no, it's 234 to be exact.
Well, there's like a several baker's dozen cryptos out there nowadays. I knew it.
Yeah, I just learned this week. There's like, there's a lot more than just like the three I thought.
Well, there's weird ones because the pricing, they create artificial scarcity in some of them by the way that it's created uh, to keep the price from inflation from devaluing it. For the most part, I think Dogecoin's one that doesn't do that. They have a liberal thing. There's no cap, so it just keeps on creating more and more and more. So it doesn't, you know, the price doesn't skyrocket as high because supply always meets demand. And then you have one I saw that was cool. It was, well, I don't know. It's cool. It's cool in concept, but what it is the person that runs it keeps $1 in treasury for every whatever coin is outstanding. So it's always worth $1. So they keep like a gold standard, but they tie that one specifically, so it's always worth $1, no matter how much it is. They just
That is
divest
kind
or increase.
No, but I learned that there's and I haven't dug too much into this, but it's like, there's like Bitcoin or there's Ethereum, but there's also like Bitcoin generic, or there's like Bitcoin SV or Bitcoin Bucks or something. I can't, Bitcoin Cash, I think is Ethereum Classic. There's like at some point along the lines, some of the values and the quantity of the coins like forked, and so now there's like two different value systems, even though they're run off of like the same technology. I don't fully understand it, I'll be honest, but I'm
They're
like, oh, it's not as simple as I thought.
the easiest way to understand it is that it's a ledger system. So the only
Yeah, but
thing
like,
there's like 100 guys keeping a list of who has what coin, if, of each different kind, and so every
yeah, but
time you
there's like
create,
multiple Ethereum coins.
yeah, they have multiple ledgers and they just have a similar name.
No, I don't think that's fully I
Yes,
don't
that's exactly what it is. They
actually. That's in fact not. That's maybe your truth, but that's not.
they call the specific ledger the blockchain, right? And that's the name they use for that specific ledger. And so there's
No,
different
because it's like one
blockchains.
Ethereum coin is like $3,000, and then like Ethereum Classic is like $29.
Yes. Why is one coin worth 29 and one is worth 1,000?
And then there's all adding on to the complexity of, because I've only looked at this for 10 minutes. Um, is that there are other coins, like you've got your Dogecoin and like your Shiba coins, that are like run off of like the same technology or same uh is it technology, same algorithm, I don't know. They're like in conjunction with the Ethereum stuff, and so it's like derivative of it, kind of, but it's listed as something
Yeah.
else.
I don't know how some of that works. Like when they do the NFTs, those are run on the Ethereum blockchain. And you use Ethereum to buy your NFTs, and I don't know exactly how that works.
Yeah, I don't know. It's way more complicated than what I thought. I'm like, oh, there's just Bitcoin and there's Ethereum and Dogecoin. It's like, nope, there's a thousand other ones.
Well,
You dumb naive person.
well, they're doing things to streamline it. So what they're doing is they're making it so that third party vendors act as basically brokers, and that broker has a block of whatever kind of coin it is, and you can say, "Hey, I want to buy Dogecoin," and they'll say, "Okay, sweet, I credit your account with 10 Doges." But they had 1,000 Doges, and so then they just put on their internal books. You know how this works.
Yeah.
And then, but they don't really own it. Then it's held in basically like street name, if you think about it.
No, I actually just saw how you can get your, with some of those things, you can get a crypto wallet within your uh, stock portfolio. Yeah, I don't know. We can talk about it later. But
No,
don't,
you can't.
your head's gonna explode,
You
Zach.
can't get it within your
It's
portfolio.
different than
Managed by a broker.
what?
So the broker has knowledge of your private token and all that stuff.
Apparently, I think it'd
that
be
like
ill-advised.
defeats the whole
But then
purpose.
again, I don't know.
Yeah, you can do it yourself. You can just get your own wallet, and then you have to find ways to transact with people to get coins and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I looked into it a little bit. I even got a wallet, but I didn't
Ooh,
buy any
where'd you
bitcoins.
get it through?
You can just
How did you get it?
It's just an app.
Coinbase?
No, I don't remember what it was, but I have a thing.
You have you're gonna die and you had like 1 Bitcoin and it's worth $1 million.
I didn't put any money on it. I was just seeing how it worked. It's like trying to get on Tinder, but your wife says no.
Why would they? You could actually you could be a millionaire in Shiba coins if you just put like $12 in.
You can't even do it like that. You have to, because they're on a different blockchain. You would have to almost, I think, have a different wallet for that, because my ID, in the
That might
Bitcoin
be your
blockchain
truth.
is the thing.
That might be your truth, but I'm speaking my truth right now.
I'm going to show you some truth right now, everybody. You may have heard.
All right.
You may have heard, Adam, but
A big bird. A big bird.
interesting you say bird, because there are some strange birds floating down to the earth in the country of the Ukraine. We have a TikTok video, and we have this very happy Russian gentleman parachuting into Ukraine, posted yesterday.
What?
King Berther retweeted it, saying, "Incredibly Lindy. Front row seats to World War III from the comfort of my home while watching TikTok videos posted by Russian paratroopers."
Oh my gosh.
I also heard tell of Ukrainian intelligence acting as honeypots on Tinder, soliciting information from Russian invaders trying to get laid. So Russians are on their smartphones and they're on Tinder, disclosing their, location and invasion routes
Rookie
to
mistakes.
pretend Ukrainian honeypots, thinking that they're thoughts, trying to
Well, Zach-
get a piece while they drive into Kyiv.
As we've discussed, from what I know, is Ukrainian women are notorious for scamming men outside of Ukraine. So this is not a surprise.
Yeah, well, it's one of their very many strengths.
Except it also may not be Ukrainian women. It may be Ukrainian men posing as women.
It's just catfish all the way down.
They don't have catfishing in Russia, so they don't even know what they're in for.
I bet they do. I bet the Russians know all about this scam. They're right next door. I bet they're
No, they're old school, like blind dates. Like, hey, I hooked you up with a great lady, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. It's like, oh, there's the door.
when you live in a society that is built on lies, and they're like transparent lies, and the culture acknowledges that that these lies exist. I think that you're just like living in a constant state of I know everything is fake. So
Yeah, but
whatever, keep the vodka
right.
flowing, friends.
But you also can't say that it's fake
Yeah, I
for
just saw.
fear of imprisonment or whatever.
I started following this guy on Twitter, and he's amazing. He does these deep dives on different like Russian cultural things that never hear about. And the one he did today was talking about how Putin was, when he was giving his public discourse before and during this Ukraine situation, he was painting the Ukrainians as neo Nazis. And this is a Russian political trope because at some point in time between the Bolshevik Revolution and the end of World War II, it became apparent to Russians generally that the lie that they were working toward utopian communism wasn't cutting it anymore. People were onto them. They're like, yeah, I don't think that's true. And so it was no longer effective as a national myth to drive the pretext of legitimacy for the government, I'll say. But prior to World War II, the USSR had actually trained German military and provided them with supplies and all this other stuff and built up their army with the intent that it be unleashed on Western Europe in order to create a World War I style protracted standoff that weakened them and set the stage for a expansionistic USSR to come and clean the table off. It turns out they trained the Germans a little too good. The Germans'
Uh,
blitzkrieg and new tactics dealt with the continental resistance in short order and allowed Hitler to turn his eyes back to Eastern Europe, which at this point had been divided because Hitler and Stalin were friendos, including breaking Poland straight in twain.
yeah,
And then the narrative needed to shift, and even the Allies didn't want to admit anymore that actually Russia had been instrumental in creating the situation that allowed Germany to become resurgent and to become a
no.
threat and to invade Western
I
Europe.
I think that that is fake. This guy, this rando Twitter guy, talking about Russian and Nazi Europe.
Everything is true.
It's fake. There's no way that Stalin trained the aristocracy, the German army, who basically had studied and embraced war since the 1700s.
They were
I'm talking
demilitarized after World War
Russians.
One. They were
Yeah,
prevented from
okay.
organizing, training, and building up. And in fact, you should
Yeah,
know that in fact Hitler, in order to get
no.
around these sanctions, built up stuff in foreign countries, built his submarines in Belarus or wherever.
I don't know where he built his U-boats, but I do
Oh,
know.
we don't even get into it.
I do know that he was practicing. They were basically the Hitler Youth, where he used that organization to build up, uh, to practice like troop exercises and stuff for his soon-to-be men.
Yeah,
Oh, in the span of 10 years, and also I don't get that because he also helped supply Francisco Franco of Spain with their war material versus Stalin supplying the one of the factions of the Republican forces. I'm calling, I don't know. I've never heard that before in my life, and I studied both the Spanish Civil War and Nazi Germany. and Russian history. I'm calling fake, but
You're
also
calling fake.
I'm calling it fake that Stalin put his arm around Hitler and was like, "Oh, hey, buddy, this is how we're gonna do this, and oh yeah, you do you." And then his hopes would be that what he wrecked Europe, stabilized them so that the Soviet Union could do what they want, including maybe even go into Europe.
I think okay, so I'll reiterate. But World War One had happened. Do you remember it?
I do remember. I remember. I remember the Germans defecting. I remember, Zach. Do you remember?
The
Germans were defecting, declaring communist republics. Whatever.
World War
Fake.
One?
World War One. At the end of World War One,
At
yeah,
the end
German
of World War
sailors.
One, during World War One, it was a protracted conflict where there was no clear advantage on either side, and they were locked up in a deadly stalemate for
Untrue.
years.
Untrue. Untrue. The Americans obviously overwhelmed
Oh my
the
gosh,
Central
you're
Powers.
just trolling me at this point. Anyway, uh, that's what this guy was saying was the thing. Anyway, and this was the
A
specific
Schlieffen
tweet.
plan, and then they like redid the Schlieffen plan again in World War II. It's like, hey, look, we had a successful story, a successful military plan.
To start with, Stalin regarded Germany as his natural ally against the Versailles victors, UK and France, so he needed to pump Germany up to make it stronger. Long before the rise of Hitler, Stalin had been building the German military might, which would then strike on allies. After World War One, Germany couldn't organize proper training for its military, so Stalin invited German officers to the USSR schools to get experience with high-tech armaments. For example, Guderian, the future architect of German Blitzkrieg, learned how to use tanks in the Kazan Tank Academy. This was later, of course,
okay, whatever.
covered up. There was even
Let's keep
examples of
let's put
Russian
a pin in this and keep going,
propaganda
I've never,
and its
I've
political
never ever heard of
cartoons
this stuff.
extant from the time talking about about what was going on. And then it's like, oh, whoops. Whoops a daisy. Hitler destroyed the Western Russian army in like a week.
Yeah, because he had the Prussian military geniuses.
And Stalin thought that he was going to be arrested and executed because of his political failings.
Oh, within the Soviet Union?
Yes, because he expected to be rolled over. The road to Moscow had been laid open by their victories. But the politicos came in and they organized the defense and yada, yada, yada. They had the Lend-Lease program with the United States that supplied them with fuel, funds, and arms and trucks that kept them going and their logistics sound. And the Allied nations conveniently forgot that it was in fact the USSR that trained and helped rebuild the German military prior to Hitler's rise.
Okay. We'll put a pin in this because I need to look into this a little bit more. This is the first time I'm hearing about this.
I sent you like 10 links to this thread today, but of course
well,
you got none of them.
No, because it's for some reason Twitter's not letting me. It's specifically with you. It's like conversation with Zachary Clark is not available.
I've probably been appropriately labeled as an extremist on Twitter nowadays. They're finally on to me. But it's this devastating conflict is in need of condemnation, Adam. We need the international communities to step up and speak out against this unmasked, naked aggression of the Russian against their Ukrainian neighbor. And who better to lead the charge on this front than the Taliban itself?
Oh no! Why would you say that, Zach?
Justin Adam. Justin breaking news. Taliban calls Ukraine and Russia to resolve their conflict via dialogue and peaceful means.
Straight up trolling.
Calls for sitting down to peace talks and not using the strength of arms to assert your political ends. Advocated by the very Taliban itself. There's not enough bourbon in the entire world.
No, it's the same guys who are getting the same Taliban guys who are getting owned on Twitter. But like, hey, do you have D's? D's? D's nuts? I got him.
Got that guy. Oh, I saw that and I said, I didn't say anything. I just, I'm slowly, as the days pass, transforming into withered Wojak day after day.
Yeah. Why? I don't get it. The Taliban could contact their friends up in Grozny and then wage war against Russia. But no.
You know about that? Clearly, the Taliban is a ruling elite of peace. Why would they advocate war on anyone?
They've got their kidneys and stuff.
I am very sad though. After the fall of Kabul, I followed this Northern Alliance Afghanistan trooper. His Twitter account went silent.
Oh.
I expect him to be dead. But yeah, the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan is closely monitoring the situation in Ukraine and expresses concern about real possibility of civilian casualties. Oh, God, this hurts me.
How embarrassing. How embarrassing. What's embarrassing?
The Islamic Emirate calls for restraint by both parties. All sides need to desist from taking positions that could intensify violence, the very Taliban says.
Gosh, they just copy and pasted something from some Western schmucks that...
I'm going to say it. Anti-colonialism was a mistake.
Should have been mining lithium.
Yeah.
And
there should be British commandos. It should have never ended. Oh. Sad day. But as you may expect, the outbreak of violence has resulted in a number of people fleeing their homes for safer countries. So for the border nations, I believe Romania, not Belarus. They've clearly sided with the oppressive, aggressive Russians.
Yeah, they've got their own problems though.
Like Poland and whatever.
Yeah, so, Poland is, they've got, first to fight in World War II.
First to fight. Too bad you can't fight German tank divisions with winged cavalry, because it would have been glorious.
I think you could have.
I believe they tried it.
I think you would have died, but it would have been...
They did try it.
No, wait. There was the one guy who went in as horse and knight armor and stuff, and he was not killed because of his bravery. Was honored.
That's just propaganda on both sides. He was probably silently killed after they crossed that bridge or whatever. Confiscated his armor and horse, left him to die of poverty and starvation If anyone feeds him, he will be killed. Put into camp.
That's not a German accent.
There wasn't just Germans in there, buddy.
Where, in Poland? Of course, it was the Germans who invaded, obviously.
Yes, it was only the Germans as far as all the Allied nations were concerned after we allowed Russia to join us. Anyway, screw Russia.
Yeah.
But I saw this take on refugees in general, and I remember thinking similar things regarding Syria and other sort of situations, and so I wanted to share it with you folks today. Refugee woman and her children forced to flee an active war zone on a train while her husband and father remained behind to fight for their home. She may never see them again. Not a refugee. A man who ditched his wife and children to find a better life in a first world country. Yes, I am refugee. The oppressor is killing my countrymen and burning my homes and turning us to slaves. By the way, I'm leaving to let him do that. And by the way, could I get a job at Ford?
Don't worry. I'll work for below minimum wage.
Don't worry, I'll vote Democrat the rest of my days.
What a nightmare. No, because you said this, right? You thought this was Syria. The Ukrainians, they wouldn't allow this, right? They wouldn't allow able-bodied men to leave and abandon their homeland.
I don't know. Let's see how they thought about this. They sent out an order. Men aged 18 to 60 will not be allowed to leave. 60. Fighting age. I'm surprised they didn't bump it down 14 to 60, but I don't think they thought that'd play well on the international stage. It was announced to the head of... Maybe this is just propaganda. You know, Ukraine...
I was thinking like 18. Honestly, I was thinking like 18 to 45. When I saw 18 to 60, I was like, oh my gosh. They're bringing in the classics.
I think that this is just propaganda, Adam. Obviously, they're not going to actually enforce something like this. It's just something that they want to put out there. I believe this account has been spouting Ukrainian propaganda the last 2 days at least that I've seen. Maybe that's what it is. It's just the Ukrainian government putting this out there to make the Russians think that they were going to fight to the death, to make Putin check himself, maybe just for a moment. Maybe just for a moment say, maybe we should try to negotiate instead of continuing to prosecute this aggression. Oh, wait, what's this? Oh, it's a, perhaps unrelated to that conversation we just had. It's a journalist. Long story short, I just walked to Poland, he says. He was a hellish 20-hour journey undertaken in the middle of winter with thousands of refugees, and he saw some terrible things. All right, here's where it is. They're going to show that there are actually lots of people, including fighting-age men, are escaping into Poland to flee the violence. All right. Vehicles were backed up for 25 kilometers, many out of gas. Several were abandoned as their occupants fled west on foot as fast as possible. Here we go. Ukrainian soldiers were stopping cars and buses and yanking out any man aged 18 to 60 to conscript in the Ukrainian army. In one place, the commissar was shouting, "Say goodbye to your daughters, mothers, and girlfriends. You must turn back and fight the Russian invader." Oh, they were dead serious.
Yeah.
You are now in the army. We will fight to the death.
Take your powder, take your gun, report to General Washington.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, a little bit different
here.
But yeah. They know what's up. They know what happened the last time that the Russians were in charge of Ukraine.
We will not
Some
be
people may have
starved
forgotten.
to death by the millions this time.
Yeah, TikTok generation may have forgotten, but the old guard who voted to get as far away from USSR as possible, they remember. They remember their grandparents telling them.
This guy, he made friends with a 20-year-old named Max, who was pulled out of the caravan as he talked with us. I had time to get his number before his conscription, and he left with a grin of utter disbelief. I will never forget that face. A woman screamed for the army to spare her husband from conscription. A soldier slapped her and took her husband. Things seemed desperate. These hysterical women trying to prevent their men from defending the nation, they should know better. A quick rap across the face is all they really need.
Ooh, exactly. This reminds me of stories of what happened to women in Berlin when the Russian soldiers reached Berlin in 1945.
Yeah. Maybe they should have fought to the death and those things wouldn't have happened.
This is why you need to issue every civilian, at least every household, a rifle, and also permit and encourage them to, maybe even mandate them to undergo at least monthly training.
I support
Target marksmanship.
I support this policy initiative. Where can I sign that petition?
We need to create this at change.org. Triggered Media.
Triggered Media will sponsor a change.org petition to arm and train the militia, which is fighting age men. All fighting age men in the entire country.
14, just arbitrary numbers.
14 to 60.
To 60.
You have to be willing to defend the nation. If this is not a warning, Adam, I don't know what is. Russia, Canada could become knocking on our door. We've got an assertive authoritarian to our north. They could come marching down to
We do have an authoritarian who gets triggered off of... I can't say that word. He gets triggered off of semi-trucks. So...
Well, there's
who knows?
Adam, there's a convoy headed for Washington, D.C. as we speak.
From Canada?
No. I think they started in California and out west or whatever.
Oh, cross-country road trip.
They're not getting a lot of hype because everyone seems to be distracted right now.
Oh, weird.
Almost like it was planned. Ooh, Biden conspiracy.
Ooh. Oh, maybe Biden conspiracy. Maybe if he had connections to Ukraine or Russia, I would consider that a conspiracy. But I don't think he has any connections to Ukraine or Russia. So, is he?
Hey, but Adam, it's not just Ukrainians 18 to 60. The very president of Ukraine himself has made public statements. We will give weapons to anyone who wants to defend the country. Be ready to support Ukraine in the squares of our cities, he says. So I was looking at renewing my passport.
I was thinking, it's like if I were a young man with no responsibilities, you could or that rando guy who's 68 now with the Hind helicopter.
Oh yeah.
He could.
I would. If I didn't have a daughter, I would be making my way to Eastern Europe as we speak.
I understand why those Americans entered the Spanish Civil War and they're like, hey, I could do this.
Yeah. So I don't know anybody who wants to. I don't think there's anything illegal about fighting Russian aggression. Make your way to Eastern Europe. What are you waiting for? Risk it all. Fight.
Yeah.
Fight. Fight the bastards to the death.
Yeah, 13 Ukrainians held off Russian warship on an island? I mean, come on.
Oh, yeah. We'll get to those guys. The Snake Island 13. Hey, but It isn't just conscripts. It isn't just soliciting foreigners to come and fight for the Ukrainian Foreign Legion. No. No, it is the leaders of Ukraine themselves, too. This is the mayor of Kiev, Vitaly Klitschko. In fatigues.
No,
Manning a
back of
machine
that.
gun. He will fight. He will fight and defend his own city. He's a former
Will
boxing
you?
champion and a millionaire, and he could have fled Ukraine by private jet to live happy life elsewhere, but he decided to fight for his country instead and risk his life. No one's turning away. They will fight to the last man, Russia. Don't you know? Caveat, this is probably all Ukrainian propaganda, and we should take everything that we show you with a grain of salt. No one's actually reporting true facts, except for maybe Sean Penn.
And Jason Segal I learned that he's out there too. So who knows?
Most of the stuff I've seen is unverifiable reports from variously the Ukrainian Defense Ministry or the Russian Defense Ministry.
Yeah, they're like, you can't even reconcile this stuff. It's like, we have completely obliterated the Air Force. And then the other side's like, we have completely obliterated the Air Force.
Yeah, they completely obliterated the Air Force, and there's video of Russian planes being shot down and stuff. It's like, wait, what's going on?
I'm like, I don't, like, you can be a little bit less of a liar and then be like, oh, hey, you know what? I would understand, I would trust you.
I would never trust. I don't trust Ukrainians. In general, I don't trust Russians.
You were spurned as an 18, 19-year-old man.
Particularly, but Eastern Europeans, they lived under communism, and they are just a shady folk. They were broken by the communist system, and they don't have very many scruples. You can tell that because they have brazen organized crime, cyber crime, and all sorts of nonsense.
Yeah, there is some weird cyber war going on too, and I'm like, okay, it's like the Russian cyber attacks. Ooh, but there's also like third-party anti-Russian, like anonymous and stuff, and
it's all fake.
It's like, well, we're engaging in war, cyber war. And I'm like, you can't upload your consciousness to fight like Neo. Okay?
How are you going to wire your pipeline into the internet and then make it so that it's vulnerable to third-party ransomware attacks? Like one of your techs are on their laptop and it's hooked into the pipeline and they're clicking emails and internet links, downloading stupid spyware and ransomware onto the firmware that runs your pipeline.
Yeah,
if we're doing that, we deserve it.
And it's all from it's either from Ukrainian women or the Nigerian princes. So it's like,
if we're so stupid, cyber crime shouldn't be able to exist unless you're an idiot.
It's like, hey, I can make you a billionaire. Yeah. Except first send me $10,000.
It's like FYI. Me looking at the crime statistics, and I find the place where armed robbery is the most prevalent, and then I just start waving cash around, walking through at night. Hey, I got a bunch of money. How you guys doing? What? It wasn't my fault. Don't make excuses, Adam. That crime was perpetrated by a robber.
Don't victim blame.
Don't blame me for what I was doing.
It was just a bunch of ones.
I was within my rights. It was just walk down that street with all my money flashing around.
But seriously, you have a 38 special.
Well, That's the backup plan. It's like as soon as someone starts something and tries to rob you, then you blast them.
that's the yeah. You've got a problem. You're just like baiting someone into robbing you, so you can so you need to survive. Like, he's coming right for me.
Yeah, I don't know.
Better yet, after he takes your money,
don't let those
he
facts
turns around.
don't let those facts come out when you're defending me for my life. That's irrelevant, Your Honor. That's irrelevant. The jury doesn't need to hear about that.
He was trying to attract criminals so that he could kill them. Your Honor, really, we need more upstanding citizens like him.
More upstanding citizens like the president of Ukraine.
Upstanding or abstaining?
These guys aren't abstaining. The president of Ukraine, prime minister, and other officials share a video. They are in Kyiv, staying with the people. We are here defending our state, and so it will be. It's in Ukrainian.
Всім добрий вечір. Лідер фракції тут, голова Офісу президента тут, прем'єр-міністр Шмигаль тут, Подоляк тут, президент тут. Всі ми тут, наші військові тут, громадяни суспільства тут, всі ми тут. Захищаємо нашу незалежність, нашу державу. І так буде й далі. Слава нашим захисникам, слава нашим захисницям. Слава Україні!
Slava Green.
Всім добрий вечір.
So it will be. They've made a commitment to stay. And they will fight. They will fight the Russians to the end. I don't know the Ukrainian national anthem or whatever, but it made me feel patriotic. And it made me think that none of my leaders have inspired me in such a way in my entire life.
Proud to be an American.
I have more patriotism for Lee Greenwood.
Yeah.
Than for any leader of our country. But it wasn't just that. There's also been, and like again, I say this is probably mostly propaganda, but I choose, your truth was some other crap earlier you were spouting. My truth is believing that these Ukrainian heroes are real.
This guy could be completely made up through CGI or whatever.
Oh yeah, it's just some guy's selfie he took or whatever, but this is real. Ukrainian soldier blows up bridge with himself still on it to stop the Russian advance. Vitaly Skakun. He had to blow up the bridge to stop Russian forces, but he could not withdraw. So he blew up the bridge in himself to prevent the Russians from going through it. Dun, dun, dun. While Western politicians talk, Ukrainians dying with dignity for freedom. Vitaly, along with the Snake Island 13 and the Ghost of Kyiv, he enters the Hall of Heroes. The Ghost of Kyiv is a lone fighter pilot, shot down 6 Russian aircraft by himself, possibly being the first 21st century ace. Ace in a day, the first time in like 60 years or something that's happened.
I read on Snopes that, which I disagree.
This obviously isn't Snopes, or isn't like the video game or whatever they were talking about.
Yeah, that's what the Snopes says. It's like, oh, this is actually footage from a video game, and I'm like, you know what, Snopes, you've lied so many times. I just don't agree with whatever you say.
I choose to believe that the Ghost of Kyiv is a real guy in a fighter plane, and that this is true.
Yes, a real guy in a Russian-made aircraft.
Yeah, he flies a MiG. Woo. Smoking them. Smoke them more.
Double own because it's your own aircraft.
Godspeed, Ghost of Ukraine. And the Snake Island 13, which I don't have a thing for, but there's this island outside in the Black Sea off of the Ukrainian coast, and there was 13 Ukrainian border patrol agents there, and the Russian warship pulled up and told them to surrender. And the Ukrainians responded for them to go F themselves and fought them to the death. And they were all killed in defense of Ukraine. Lay down your lives for the motherland and defeat these aggressive oppressors. They will not take your homes until they take your lives. Win or die, Ukraine! Win or die! Which is easy for me to say because I'm sipping bourbon in Illinois. But at the same time,
You could be sipping vodka in the Ukraine and also
I don't think it
saying
would cost
these
that
things,
much.
firing
I
your
don't know.
Kalishnikov.
I'll have to have a talk with the missus.
Don't
I'm feeling
you
compelled.
don't you dare leave me with all this stuff.
We will have
That
to
works.
do without an income for a while, wife. I'll send home more trophies and my body in a box.
Yeah, it'll be like 50 bags of. Oh, never mind. I won't get biblical here.
But it's cool, bro. It's cool because the United States and other countries are on it. They are imposing very stringent sanctions.
Yes,
They're
yes,
sanctioning
make it
them.
so that they can't propagate this war.
Sanction them hard. So hard.
Yes.
Sanctions are so tough at them that they won't apply to Russia's oil and gas industry. What?
Wait, no. Their oil and gas industry is like their number one export.
President Biden announced even more sanctions on Russia, but they fell short of the nuclear option.
Nuclear?
Sanctioning oil exports. Why can't he do that? We consume that product, said Marge Brennan on Face the Nation.
Oh, what a joke! What a joke! Look, I don't like paying more. I don't like paying more at the pump. And don't get me wrong. But also, if you're gonna like say we're doing this and we're gonna make sure that you suffer, oil and gas is what you do. They're like, are they part of OPEC? I don't know, but they're definitely they're one of the top oil producers in the world.
Adam, I don't know what you're talking about because, as we all know, the grown-ups are in charge, and Putin forgot
yeah.
something. Putin
The grown-ups are in charge.
Putin forgot. He made a serious miscalculation. He's no longer dealing with Donald Trump. Says world famous horror writer Stephen King.
Oh my gosh, no, Zachary, this isn't how it works. This isn't how it works. So, the general way you go about with international relations is you assume that everyone else is a rational thinker, and so Putin thinks that everyone else is a rational thinker. He knows what people are doing. The thing is with Donald Trump as U.S. president, you didn't know what he was doing. You didn't know what he was going to do.
No.
He might. This is okay. So it's like it's both these people are wrong with like the adults are in charge now, and then also like the he didn't attack when Trump was in charge.
He didn't
It's like,
attack
yes.
because Trump was in his pocket. That's what it was. See,
Yeah,
look,
that doesn't make any sense.
this is what they're
It doesn't
talking
make any
about.
sense.
The problem is
'Cause
you
if
look
he
at the
was in his
president. You look at a presidential term like it's a football game, and the world doesn't work that way. Trump weakened democracy. The strength was democracy and its unity, and Trump dragged it through the mud and in the streets. And we're weak now. Putin saw our weakness. Trump made us weak. Trump's fault. Boom.
Absolutely not, because George W. Bush He invaded Georgia under Bush. He invaded Crimea under Obama. He didn't act under Trump. And the people don't understand that the reason why he didn't act under Trump is because he didn't know what Trump would do. I mean, I don't know.
No, no.
This is a guy who Trump was a guy who freaking drone struck an Iranian general who was known as a terrorist leader across the well, he wasn't a I don't know, he was state sponsored, so he had all these black sites across the Middle East, and he was a terror among not only Iraq but Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, all these other Arab Muslim countries. And he's just like drone strike them, and he killed this Iranian general.
I'm trying
And
to.
everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, he's going to start World War III." You know what happened? Nada. Well, I take that back. What happened was a Ukrainian airliner carrying Iranian and Canadian civilians was shot down because Trump ordered a missile strike on an Iranian general. Trump was irrational, and you didn't know what he would do. And that's why Putin didn't act. All he had to do was wait for 4 years, continue to foment division within the United States, and there you go. He got the adults back in charge.
I don't know, Adam. I can't reconcile that because the Washington Post is telling me that in fact Trump is supporting the Russians' actions. Yes, this is the Washington Post, a major newspaper publication, who posted a political cartoon, Putin shirtless in a tank, with Donald Trump standing by saying, "I started a GoFundMe campaign to help your convoy."
It says what?
I started
It
a
says
GoFundMe campaign to help your convoy. It's playing off of the Nazi white supremacist Canadian convoy GoFundMe thing, saying that the Russian invasion is similar to that convoy and it's supported by Donald Trump.
I don't get it. It's stupid.
It's his fault. Trump is in bed with
Trump
Russia.
has been out of office for 14 months.
Well, that's what this guy said. He said, "You know he's not in office anymore, right?" And then
It's
someone says,
stupid.
"He
It doesn't
thinks
make
he
any sense,
is."
That's dumb. That doesn't make any. That doesn't make any sense because also he didn't even start a GoFundMe. He has the money. He could do this stuff himself.
No. It's trying to tie everything together. Right
Yeah,
wing
it doesn't make
authoritarians
any
like
sense.
Trump
It doesn't even like. It's
support
not even
convoys
like
in Russia.
no suspension of disbelief is available here. I see that. I'm like, very dumb, lowbrow.
Adam, this is bulletproof logic. Obviously, no one.
Zach, I've already run out of. Oh,
And anybody who has anything else to say can just cry me a river. Like this guy. Wait a minute. That's how you spell cry. That's Crimea. Crimea River. Wait. And it shows a man striding right over the Trump administration.
That's the thing.
Left foot in Obama, right foot in Biden.
That's my thing. He's not. Trump was not a rational actor. He wasn't this ordinary like Western like peace in our time type.
No. He was unhinged.
Leader.
In fact, I believe he started talking to the press just like 2 days ago, and he was talking about how when he was speaking with Putin, and I think this is all fake, but I choose to believe that it's true also, that he said, "If you move on Ukraine, I'll hit Moscow." And he looked at me and like he couldn't believe me, and I said, "All those beautiful golden turrets going down. It'll be such a shame." And he said,
That's so ridiculous. There's no way you said that.
"That's what I'm saying. There's no way. There's no way it's true." But I'm choosing to believe that it is, that this happened.
But the thing is he could have said that and just been completely lying.
Yeah.
Who knows?
He said the same thing to President Xi of China. If you take Taiwan, I'll hit Beijing. They didn't
Hey, you
believe.
know what? I actually believe that one because then he had what's that? The general who called him up was like, actually, I'll interfere,
I'll let you know.
and I won't."
I'll call you before any attacks. Don't worry. I have literally told you that I would break military silence and betray my own country to give you a warning.
I'll tell and okay,
I'm a
and
general
you're
of the
gonna-
United States. I'm in fact the chairman of the Joint Chiefs currently.
Yeah, and don't worry.
I'm
worry.
not in
Later on
prison.
tonight,
I'm
don't-
not
don't-
in prison.
I'll wear the pink underwear later on tonight, like you like. Okay.
String him up, that bastard. Ooh, General Milley, you piece of shit.
I actually did. I do choose to believe that one. He could have literally said that and not even meant it. Just like how Putin with his like, there's obviously neo Nazis there. We need to overtake them. It's like, no, I've heard that for 5 years here in America. Fake. Oh, no, it was the Lincoln Project pretending to be.
Oh, I'm out of bourbon. It's time. It's time for our
I've been
ice
out for like 50 minutes, Seth.
cold fact of the week. Coming to you straight from Ice-T's Twitter feed. Ice-T was actually going in on some of the Ukraine stuff, so
Oh, sweet.
it
Let's
was
see.
even informative. Looking at Ice-T's account for current events, but ice cold fact: in life, things get out of pocket and out of control. The question is, can you regain control and get back on track? You have to. Ice cold fact. Ice cold fact. And it is particularly important to remember that when things are as out of pocket as they are right now. But that is our show for this evening. We really hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, smash like, subscribe, and share this video with all your friends.
Or your enemy.
Anybody, especially your enemies, if you think they'll hate it, because obviously you want to afflict them with as much pain as possible. Hashtag comment below with your favorite potentially fake Ukrainian war hero in these last few days. Mine is definitely the ghost of Kyiv. He's got that drip.
Oh, yeah.
But Adam, did you have anything you'd like to add here at the end of the show?
I've been adding way too much to this. No, I do not have anything to add.
All right, folks. Well, we will see you next time right here on Triggered. Good night.